We love it. We hate it. We hate it and love it again. Yes, it's Warcraft, and we're here to talk about it. Welcome to the WoW Reckoning Hour. Hello, fellow gamers, and welcome to episode 5 of the WoW Reckoning Hour. I am Leonard, your host of the show, along with my co-host Sam. We're here to talk to you, or to continue to talk to you about patch 7.2 and all the cool stuff that is coming along with that. But before we get into everything, as usual, kind of want to see what we've been up to. We did miss last week, so got a little bit. So what you been up to, Sam?
What have I been up to? Avoiding world quests as much as I can. No, I've been pretty much just trying to get my reputation up on my priest and doing Love is in the Air, which was just so like nails on a chalkboard to me, having to go and find all of the, like, come on, you can't find a dwarf hunter. There's no such thing. Like, I had to have Andre make one. So pretty much that's just been what I'm doing, kind of running around doing that. And like I said, trying to gain reputation and not do world quests, which you can't really do. So
right.
It's been a rough couple weeks for me, I think.
Like, I remember I was telling you about that the other day. I got all those achievements back in, was it 2009? Yeah. Something like that. So
yeah, thank goodness you did.
I didn't have to worry about them.
Because I swear they just don't make dwarf hunters anymore. Nobody does. Like, I went everywhere I could think of to go, but at least it's done now and over with. And
right.
And also there was the whole, I don't know if you were on for like the Dalaran drama that ensued yesterday when like Andre and I are sitting in the new Dalaran trying to eat the freaking sweets on the picnic basket, and it's not working, and I'm getting more angry, and I'm having to go and do daily quests to get more friggin' chocolate boxes, and finally we just went to old Dalaran and it was fine.
No, I was not there for that.
It was quite, I was like yelling at him. I feel kind of bad. I was like, it's not working.
I mean, everything for me has been, pretty normal. I'm back in Austin now. So it was great to,
venue. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was awesome to be away. But I'm definitely glad to be home and stuff like that. I love Austin way too much to want to leave it. Other than that, just been messing with WoW, doing things. I feel a little bit less inclined to do as much as I've done before.
Yeah.
I'm building up my survival weapon, which it's already at over its 35th. I think I'm like 3 or 4 into the hidden on that one, just because I want to PvP with that.
That looks fun, actually. The survival spec in PvP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely strong. I just got to get used to mess with it. I haven't even messed with it. I just keep building into it. Me and Death usually always do some PvPs together, and I've been looking at the Xbox lately too, thinking maybe there's a good time where I can knock in some console gaming as well.
Interesting. I know, it was kind of funny. I don't know if you know what Biggles did. There was this bet that Biggles and Healadin and Gromman had that because Biggles doesn't really like horror games, but they made him play the new Resident Evil last night, and he has to play from the beginning to the end, and he has to stream it live on Twitch. So we were watching him, and yeah, I kind of want to play that now. It looks really good.
Oh, was it scary?
I was doing Mythic Pluses while I was like listening to him stream. So like every once in a while I was like super intrigued about what was happening, because you could hear like the whole game. And so I would like in the middle of a fight, sorry guys who are doing those with me, but I would like switch back and forth and be like, oh, and then I'd like get all into it and forget who was playing. But yeah, it looks really good. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, you can always tell like when the shit is about to hit the fan. Mm-hmm. It's like all the music changes and you're like, wait a minute, this is about to get real quick.
If you want some like A+ entertainment, just listen to Biggles play that game, because he is just like the funniest person ever, honestly.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'll have to go check that out.
You will have to. I think he said he's streaming Sunday, so I'll text you if he starts to stream.
Oh, okay. So he's not playing it. Like, I thought you were saying that he couldn't stop playing until he beat it. Oh.
No, they said like he has to do a minimum. Last night he had to do a minimum of 1 hour, but every time he plays, he has to stream it. And if he at any time, like they bet him 50K WoW gold I'm like, dude, I'll just give it to you, so you don't have to do this. But so basically it once he makes it from the very beginning of the game to the very end, they pay him 50K. If at any point over however long it takes him to finish it, he's like, I just can't do this anymore, it's just too much, then he has to pay them each 25K. So
Wow.
I don't know, I'm not sure about the specific timeline there, but I know for sure that he played an hour and a half last night and he's going to do it on Sunday because he's just trying to get it over with.
Wow. Yeah, we go from Mythic race to console race.
Yeah, it's like, and you know, like they had all these things, like he had to play in the dark. He wasn't allowed to like have anybody talking to him, like talking, because he wasn't allowed to any like hand holding, I guess. Because I said, I'll get in, I'll talk to you if you want to stay in curse. And he's like, I'm not allowed, or I would. So, but
did he have a certain? I would assume they had to play it on like medium or hard or whatever they have level of difficulty.
I don't exactly know. I just know like he was hilarious. So he was streaming it the whole time. You could see him, and like when scary things would happen, he would just like kind of jolt back in his chair, and like he would just be like, "I told you, man, don't go in there." Like it was just the funniest thing. He might even actually have it up on his Twitch site that you can like go and listen to it. But it was the funniest thing. I just couldn't even handle life yesterday. We were dying in Mythic Pluses, and I think it was my fault because I was watching big TV there.
That is awesome. Yeah, maybe I'll have to check that one out.
It was so
actually
funny.
I'm definitely gonna check out Biggles getting scared over a game.
It's awesome.
But, that's also why I never played BioShock. Had friends tell me that was way scary. I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna play that. I'm good. Left 4 Dead was bad enough.
Yeah,
stuff was about to get crazy.
That's what they were talking about. Apparently there was, I think maybe it was that one, Left 4 Dead, or another one where he played, they did the same kind of dare, and he only got into it in like, I think he turned it off before he even got into the house or whatever, and I guess that was like 5 minutes in or something. So I mean, I'm Team Biggles, so I really want him to finish this, so I told him every time he does it, I'll support him and watch. So
okay
yeah.
All right. All right, guys, we're going to get into our quick news. All right, so despite all the drama that has gone out with the Mythic race and everything that's happened, more than any time other Mythic race, Exorcist did take it. I know a little bit of a late nose, but I wasn't here for last week, so Exorcist, congratulations. Yeah. As well as Lucio has been on the PTR and should be making to the Heroes of the Storm next week. So that should be coming in. It'll be the third Overwatch character making it into Heroes of the Storm, as well as Hearthstone. Western Winter Playoff has begun this weekend to get to the 4 players that will be going to the Winter Championship. So I got the Hearthstone stuff going into that, and there was a potential leak out there for the next set for Hearthstone, which would be Lost Secrets of Ungoro. Weird thing is it came from a resume that was sent out. Someone pulled this resume and took a picture and then posted it and things like that. This person that's a voice actor and things like that, and on there it showed Hearthstone Lost Lost Secrets of Ungoro, and that's how they pulled that. So it's this is theory crafting, or not. I guess it's a little bit more than theory crafting, but it's a potential leak. Someone snagged it up, picked it up. That obviously works for some kind of place that might be hiring this person and thought it would be funny. Just says they might know the next Hearthstone. So we could watch out for that. Any Overwatch players out there, the PTR, check it out. Bastion and Mercy are getting some big changes. So go on there, check those out, see what you feel about them. Make sure you post up on there. So, WoW can get back to you, or, maybe there's some changes they didn't intend for, so on and so forth. So get those test runs on those. WoW hot fixes have been going out basically this week alone. There has been 2.
Yeah.
But basically it's Nighthold fixes with Mythix, and then adjusting, so on and so forth, as well as some non-mythics, such as like Star, Spellblade, things of that nature. And then some priest rotation, spell rotation has been some changing into that, as well as some PvP monk tweaks. So it's been a lot, but there has been some tweaking, mainly in Nighthole, which is more important because a lot of people are having some troubles on some of the bosses in there that are just just no joke. But that is all the news I have. You have any quick news out there, Brooks?
Yeah, being as that I love me some mounts, I actually was super excited to see, and I've never played Heroes of the Storm, but I will play now because there is a chance that I can get this amazing fiery cat-like thing. I'm trying to describe it from the picture, but it's called a primal flame saber mount. So basically, starting Tuesday, which is Valentine's Day, so February 14th at 10 in the morning, that's Pacific Standard, till March 14th, so almost a month. All you have to do is complete. Now, when it says complete, I don't know if this means win, but it just says complete 15 Heroes of the Storm matches with a friend while playing as Warcraft heroes. So you have to use the heroes. And again, I don't even know which heroes are in Heroes of the Storm that are from Warcraft, but I'm excited to do this. So next weekend, that's what Andre and I are going to do because I need this mount. So when you do it, you actually get the Primal Flame Saber mount in Warcraft on your account. In Heroes of the Storm, you get a 10-day stim pack. And you also got a Flames of Judgment Charger mount, which is kind of like the Paladin horse, but with fiery feet in Heroes of the Storm. So that looks really cool, and I'm totally down to do that.
Yeah, and I think all 15 don't have to be completed with one friend as long as it's just done with a friend.
Yeah, and I'm thinking that's like battle that friend. And again, not sure if you have to win or not. And I've tried to figure this out, but I haven't really seen anything that says whether or not you have
Usually
to win.
before you had to win.
Well, in Hearthstone,
I mean,
Hearthstone you did. And then the WoW token, hello money. Just wanted to say that. Though they've changed how it works, right? Because now it's like almost like having a Blizzard bank account. So you can go buy these WoW tokens, and holy crap, on Tuesday they were worth 115,000 gold. That was crazy. So you can buy these WoW tokens, sell these WoW tokens, and for those of us who sell them for the gold, that's amazing. But for those of you out there who use them for your game time, well, now you can use your WoW gold to actually bank into like a Blizzard bank account, and you can use it on mounts that they sell in their Blizzard store. You can use it for pretty much any merchandise that they sell, as well as for other games that Blizzard has. So it's pretty cool. You can buy deluxe editions. You can do character services like Realm and Faction changes. You can buy all the pets mount and helm, Hearthstone card packs. So those are just a small amount of things that you can do. And if I recall, somebody, I don't know who, maybe was it you, had said this is where you thought that this was going to go.
Oh yeah, I called it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, and it's amazing to be able to anybody. I'm very interested to see game economy. I think it'll be great. It is very interesting to seeing what this is going to do to Blizzard economy profits. So a lot of people want to. I mean, you have WoW. That's one thing, but I mean, you have Hearthstone, Overwatch. The microtransactions is like that's how they make money. Like that's how they blow money into those games, or make so much money into those games. And for individuals that are like maybe play a lot of WoW, and then with the amount of gold they have and things of that nature, and then they're going and they can apply. I mean, basically we're just applying it to our BattleNet balance now. You can choose which service, do you want to add more WoW time or add it to your BattleNet balance. So you get the $15 to your BattleNet balance, and then people going into Hearthstone and Overwatch and
I'm wondering though, if they will eventually because there's all that merchandise that they sell, like all the plushies, which I love the plushies. I have 2 of them, which were both gifts from people. And then, but they have these amazing Horde sweaters. So
yeah, I'm waiting for those to be connected with the BattleNet store.
That would be amazing because
it's a store. Then they have the gear, and that's like a separate entity almost that Blizzard isn't controlling. Like they control it, yes, but it's weird. It's like they had to outsource for that or something like that because it's so separate. And your BattleNet, you don't have BattleNet balance there. You don't have anything. It's a different sector. They have into that, so it's really weird.
They have amazing things there though. Like I was actually very shocked because I just went to look at the Murloc plushies because I really want more of those, and every time I do that, I try and look, and then hopefully Andre sees me looking, so maybe I'll get one. But I was looking through the apparel, and they have these amazing which for men this is whatever tights, but you can look at girls' butts in them, so whatever. And then the
Mhm.
sweater to match. So I just want this so bad, and I know that makes me a huge geek, but I want it.
Yeah,
So
they're definitely really cool, and they keep coming out with better stuff on there. Something that, I mean, there's been a few things that even caught my eye that I really wanted, but some of them were limited time. Most of the time it's like the limited edition stuff. And I know, like they did the statue, the Illidan statue. I've been like, oh my god, I wish I
would
had.
you like want that Illidan statue so that you could take its clothes off, or
What? You don't take clothes off? I'm not. No, I'm not gay. No, but my roommate has it, and it looks pimp. And I'm not gonna have a roommate for the rest of my life, but I'm gonna have my sector of my of my section that will be stuff that I care about and things like that. Illidan's one of them.
You're gonna have like a china cabinet for your figurines.
It'll probably be in my recording studio or something like that.
Okay, I see.
A recording room, office.
In your office.
Whatever it could be.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to have that kind of stuff in there,
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, all the stuff that is out there. If you collect these type of things, have fun with it. If you don't collect them, all my stuff, I collect certain things, but everything that I have has a meaning behind it, of something that, a game that I've loved and have played for multiple years, or the story on it, or something like that. I don't have very much. It's very few amount of things that I do have as memorabilia into games or sports or anything like that. But what I do have has a lot of meaning and things behind it. So I really give honestly two shits about what anybody thinks.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, was it nerd? I'm like, well, that's me.
Just so you know, though, I just went and looked, and there is a World of Warcraft Illidan hoodie and Illidan leggings. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not getting those.
Come on.
Oh man, but yeah, go check all this stuff out. If you're a auction house guru, I am not. I wish I could be. I know how to sell a few things, but like when I say guru, I mean people that like helm the auction house. They're snagging up what kind. They know what good prices are, what bad prices are. It's like someone just being. It's like someone playing with the stock market. Honestly,
Super smart. Yeah, like these people are amazing when it comes to that.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm still sitting on a few from our guild runs of the
BOE.
Nighthold and the BOEs. Yeah, I'm still sitting on a few of those because the costs are way too low, and I know they're going to come up. But I'm just waiting. And today, actually, I'm going to go check on these prices again.
Right.
Because a lot of things, a lot of times more sell on Saturdays. So that means that on Saturday, a lot of the lower price stuff is going to get cleared out. So I can start to underbid someone. If you do play auction house at all, or if you want to care about, don't underbid someone by like 4,000 gold or 5,000. Just keep the market going. You want the market to stay there, and then you're gonna have someone that doesn't understand it, and then they see that jump, and then there's like, oh, this is crap, then, and then they will underbid that person. Next thing you know, you have something that should be going for like 40, 50 is down now all of a sudden for like 10,000 gold or something like that, which is sucks.
That really that happened with the steel bound harness, the Felcor hound mount. So I sold the first one that I made. Well, I made one for myself first, of course, and then I ended up making two more, and I was going to sell one, and I gave one to Andre, and they just tanked the price. So I was like, you know what, this would just be better served to give away as a gift to a friend. So I did.
Yeah, we can even start doing some fun stuff with raids. So before we get into the hot stuff with our main topics for tonight with the PTR, we one-shotted Gold Dan, or one-shotted the full clear on Tuesday last week.
We did.
Right? Not this week, last week. So we went back in there. We one-shotted one day, went in there on Tuesday, full clear of normal. Then we worked on some on Thursday. Then we worked on some heroics. We got to Chronosis, and got stuck on him a little bit. And then we went in this last Tuesday, did a full clear again, and then got also heroic Skyporion down. So and then Thursday we actually got Chronosis down, and we worked on Spell Blade, and I'm so happy they're doing some hot fixes in there.
Yeah,
the place is it's definitely, and there's a lot of stuff that goes on to that. So if anybody's getting stuck on it, it's a lot of things. A lot of people are getting stuck on that. Keep in mind, these are things that are out there that are, people doing on these Mythics and things like that. They did like 400, 500 pulls. Even before Mythic Race came out, they were doing it on PTR and stuff like that. So that's just the way of the game and how we handle through this process. So it's been a lot of fun. And hopefully we can continue, and Team Snipe can get to our February 28th deadline. So
Team Sniper is not going to win this. As much as I wish he would, he's not going to. And
we might not be as far as we want, but we're going to be at Gul'dan or a boss from Gul'dan from Heroic. We're looking at, if we're going to go through this real quick before we get into the hot topics, we got, wow, man, that's another, we got this week, we got 2 more weeks, and then third week of really pushing. And
But look who we still have to deal with. Okay, we still have to get down Spell, we have to get down the Botanist, we have to beat the Enrage timer on Titch, and then we have to do Alessandra
and Star.
And
yeah, I think we're all right. I have faith.
I know you do. And without your faith, I don't know how we would make it through the day. I just don't. But yeah. I think it's going to take us a while. I mean, I love, like I've said this probably in every podcast since we started, but I do love our guild and our raid groups, or the raid group that we have. And the people in it are amazing. And you can tell that they have infinite patience for the most part. Yeah. But, we will get there, and I know we will, but I think it's going to take us a little bit longer than a couple weeks.
Yeah. And I mean, I do as well. And so, anything with, and a quick note on to Heroics or Mythics or anybody that's doing anything. Yes, there's boss fighting, but, and learning the boss mechanic that is new. But the biggest part that I would say that even takes almost 51% of it is how does your guild, how does your raid team handle it? Because everyone plays differently, and as we continue to build our core group and things like that, we're just learning how people play and then what makes sense, and through that process. So keep in mind, you can know every aspect of the fight, but running with people, that's a whole new thing that takes up a lot more that as you progress into this stuff. So keep at it. Anybody that I know a really good guild out there that does a lot of Mythics, and they are they're just now starting on Mythics and stuff like that. They've been farming Heroics for a few weeks. They just started with last week, I think, or this week on Mythic, and they got Scarperion down. That's it. So, I mean, congrats out there to them. But, just keep at it. That's the only thing I can say. Okay, so as we're going into our main topic for tonight is the some of the 7.2 changes that are happening out there. We definitely wanted to give more time to certain things I know we've mentioned before, but as it's new developing into this. So first off, it is Legendaries, our artifact Legendaries. They're doing a lot of changes to these things, which we've mentioned. We're going to get refunded all the way back to our 35th trait. So what's going to happen through this process is each class will be able to get 6 new traits, start off with essentially, well, not right out of the beginning. So what's going to happen is they're going to get 6 new traits they'll be able to put back, or to put into until they go back into the 20 rank dump and type kind of thing that we did with to get to 54. And so that 20 thing is now going to be called infinite, or something like that, is an example of it, that it can be essentially just going to be moved around and to have a different name. But it's going to have that 20 dump phase type kind of thing. And then the relics as well, I've changed. They're going to be relics can now grant you up to 2 ranks to your artifact traits. And so before it was only granting you 1 rank, just a free rank. So some relics out there will grant you up to 2 ranks. So that's really good into that. And then for the 6 new traits that are also happening through that process is it's going to be a quest line to unlock them. Mm-hmm. So there's 1 for tanks, 2 for healers, and 4 for DPS. So in meeting through that process is 1 for tank is they're going to be able to, basically drop 6 into 1. Healers, I mean, you're going to have, or what tanks go into 1 quest lane chain, and then like healers go to 4 for DPS, and then the total is going to be 7 unique. So that's a total of at least 7 unique quest chains that are going to be happening, and so it's really interesting on how they're going to handle this, and if you're able to burn through Obviously, you can't start this new quest chains and things like that to unlock this stuff until you hit your 35th trait. So anybody that's out there for alts or anything, if it's not at his 35th, they won't be able to start this new one to get these new different traits. Every class is getting something different, so applying to specific areas that I would assume that WoW sees this and like getting an improvement on, but especially through relics. I think that relics now providing not only one boost up, it's now providing, it can provide up to 2. I don't know if that means like it's a Warforged now. Maybe they're giving Warforged to relics or something. I don't know.
Well, I think so with that though, because right now, I mean, I think I'm probably not the only person, but I have, in my weapon on Brookz, I have 2 of the same relics in my weapon, and so they add like a point each, but that other, the second point, or, you know, the redundant point, I guess, is just lost somewhere out in, you know, the space. So, because you're not, maybe,
no, I mean, well, if you know, say you have a thing that has 3, now it should say 5.
Really?
You know, yeah.
Oh. I don't think I've ever seen that. I'll have to check that next time.
Yeah, if you have 2 that goes in, it's still going to add a point. And remember that the relic, it's not like it made that item cost now 4. I mean, it's still costing the same amount.
Yeah,
it just adds a point to it. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, will say, hey, if you can get all 3 of them for, you know, X class to be, you know, I only say like Hunter, you know, like Jaws of Thunder, I can add 3 into Jaws. And if I got the, you know, all 3 of them, I don't think they can only think it can happen up to 2, but I've gotten up to 5 before, and then but that's gonna be interesting. You know, if there's a certain, you know, relic or not relic, but
to pick and choose as well, right? Isn't something that's gonna happen like? And I know maybe this is where you're talking about the quests and like the different quest lines.
Well, the quest line's unlocking it, so like, how it's working is you're going to have like this separate, or how they're currently presenting what the finished touch of it is going to be is all hearsay, you know, but you know, basically the separate traits that are going to be appearing, right? And then you start applying into those. Like for me, it's going to have, right now it shows like 4. It's going to have, I have to fill up 4, and then I can move up to the next one that's a 1, and then another 1. So it's 6 total. Everyone's going to have 6. So, I mean, as it moves into that, and that's where this quest line is there to unlock them, which makes me nervous too, is because if I've done 54, so I have this dump, right? I have this storage that they're going to give back to me, and then I'm going to have to go through a quest chain. And we all know this quest chain at some point, more than likely, it's going to be some stupid thing where it's going to wait like a week because you have to gather like these shards or something.
Yeah, always. Legion is
right,
the grinding. I don't even know.
But keep in mind that this will also be during, like, you know, not off topic or anything like that, but like it will be in the Broken Shore, and we're doing stuff, and then all this stuff's going to be going and like I said before. I mean, we're going to have. It's no matter what time this expand, or this, not expansion, but this 7.2 patch comes out, we're going to be looking at probably at least a month, or I wouldn't say at least, probably max about a month, but I mean, we're probably looking at 3 weeks to a month before the new raid comes out. As long as it can be done before the new raid comes out, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I took a look at this, and from what I can see, it's kind of like, the way that I understand it anyway, is like your 35th trait is the same as it is now. And then your 36th trait, which will cost the amount, like a similar or equal to kind of the artifact power right now, which is like, I think we're up to like 4 million and something. So I'm assuming that 36th one will cost about 4 million and I don't know, 200 or 300,000. And that's like, a continuation of the hidden. So the 36 trait goes in as like a second point into that. And then once that's done, your 7th trait would be like along what you're talking about, the quest chains. But the increase of the cost of it is quite substantial as far as I can see.
Well, okay. So, I mean, it's not going to continue off the same cost. It's going to go, it's basically dialing everything, like, so that's why they're refunding everything that you spent into 35, but it's going back to the same cost as if you were getting you got your 35th, so you got your hidden,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's going to the same cost what 36 would have been back then. And I think they're slowing people down by this quest chain that everyone will have it, which is fine. And anyone testing on this stuff on PTR and all that kind of good stuff, when it gets to that point, and these mythic raiders getting ready, pushing and pushing and pushing, doing all this stuff to get ready for when mythic gets opened up on PTR, it's going to be there and ready for them. They're going to have all access to it to be able to figure out what the kind of gear they need to be searching for, what they need to be handling on. So I mean, definitely through that, but it's getting reversed back to that now. Once it gets to So basically, if you look at it onto this aspect, is now we're getting essentially 6 more. So if you do, we've gotten to 30 or 54. And so the same cost is going to get for the 6, and then we're going to be able to apply them into the infinite 20 rank dump.
Right.
And then that 20 rank dump is going to go, once we've filled everything into that one, and then the next one for the last 6, now it's going to be going into 4 million, 5. I think it's probably going to end up pushing around 6 million.
No, they have a chart on, like I saw this chart on Wowhead, and they've got it on the PTR right now, where your 36 trait is going to fall in line with, so 37, like it just says here, 37 right now costs 2,010,000 artifact power. Now, okay. 37 coming in 7.2 is going to be 15 million artifact power to get, and it's going to go up from there. So here, like the 50th artifact, like the 50th trait, I guess, or 50th rank was 3,785,000, right? But now to go into that, on 7.2 is going to be 51,500,000. So the cost of artifact power to buy these traits or sink into these traits for your weapon has gone up substantially, but it doesn't start until the 37th trait. However, the artifact knowledge, because they're introducing new artifact knowledge, right? So we're all at 25, right? Well, I mean, the majority of people are at 25. So the rank, the 26th rank of artifact power will give you a 50,000% increase. And as you go, and it's going to go to 40. So when you get to 40, you're going to be at a 400% or 400,000% increase. So it's like, do you know what I'm saying?
It's essentially the same thing that we've been doing, but
it just looks crazy. Like it looks crazy when you think of, because we just went through this and think of how long we ground out to get to 54, right? So when you open up this page and you're like 51 million, like that's crazy. And we don't even have like, okay, so you and I right now have banked, I mean, if you just do the simple math here on this page, I mean, 3, 6, 9, 12, it's got to be maybe 35,000 or 35 million banked. And that's only going to get us 2 traits, basically.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This is the same issue that I've seen so much with these artifact legendaries that I want them to, I see so much promise into this, but at the same time, I see them falling into the same thing they did from vanilla, moving on to BC, and they're just adding all this stuff. They made the trees so complicated and, adding more, and then they feel like, we just can't add more stuff to it. We're going to simplify it. And these artifact legendaries, they're looking at just rehashing history. Like, they don't have to redo this stuff.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think they realize, and the biggest part about this is because that I feel like they can actually tweak classes correctly now. And so all they have to do is modify percentages. If you have an answer to anything to modify a percentage, and it's across the board for, doesn't matter what spec you're playing, it does matter what spec you're playing. And so they basically just look at specs. How are they resulting? And you have to get away from the Mythic Raiders and things like that, because you have to. Mythic Raiders actually get the easiest gear in the game. If you look at it, how much do they do heroics? They do norm, heroics, and then they do a mythic. And as they're doing this push, they're getting all that gear as well. And they have this stuff on farm. And so they're getting a lot more gear a lot faster. And so that's where when we also see these numbers that are out there, Well, this is done number one DPS. It's also looking at these mythic raiders, and that's what it's pulling from, of what people are doing if they have this and that, and so on and so forth through that process. And that's why you can see someone that is supposed to be bottom of the this isn't a good DPSer, but in so and so's raid, they're top DPS. It's because they have better gear. They've pushed and they've gotten certain things. But when I looked at these percentages of stuff, I saw that this artifact weapon. So when you're, especially with the going back into the 20 dump, right, and how much percentage it gives. Mm-hmm. Look how tanks are doing it. Look, okay, where are tanks sitting? Are they pretty equal? What's missing? And then they can just go adjust artifact weapon percentages.
Okay, so what you're
that's
saying
all they have
is
to do.
So you're saying instead of, because the interesting thing is on Wowhead, which I have this pulled up right now, it's actually the Ashbringer, which is the retribution weapon. Mm-hmm. So which I thought was, I'm like, hey, that's my sword. But so how they've done it is, it looks like the pattern is still the exact same as we have right now, but in the bottom right hand corner there's like a circle glyph or graphic, not glyph, sorry, graphic, and there's 4 different traits, I guess would be the right thing to say. So one of them is gold, like we would see the other gold traits, and then the other 3 are just normal. So I can't see how many you're going to put in or anything like that, but that just looks, but I understand what you're saying. So you're saying stop trying to make things more complicated and really grind down to the actual issue, which is why do druid tanks or whatever, for example, I'm just pulling stuff out of my hat. Why is Biggles doing 150,000 more DPS than everyone else in our raid group? And he is an arms warrior, right?
Right.
So, and not that it's not because of his gear or how he plays or anything like that, but why can he do so much more than me as a retribution paladin,
Well, I mean, that's kind of, because that argument can go into a different aspect, because I mean, he has his 2 best legendaries and he has a 4-piece, which is huge. So that's definitely sees it onto that, and we just have to catch up to where he is at currently. Even though I play as much as, or me and you, Sam, how much we play and how much we provide into it. It just happens. I'm just not gonna. I can't force Blizzard to drop these things for me. And so no matter how much I play or try.
Barely do I ever get gear. It's very, and I know and people are like, you get everything, but I don't. You can testify. How often do I get an actual piece of gear? It's hard for me to get gear, really. Some days it's my day, and Vegas is just giving me everything. You can bet on me, right? But not last raid. I don't even think I saw a piece of gear, or I saw one and I couldn't use it. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, last week or let's say this week, I guess on Tuesday, I had a really good, or was it Tuesday? I believe it was. Yeah.
Tuesday.
I had
saw your legendary
day. Yeah. I got my second legendary, and I thought at that time, because I always check on to see what Icy Veins and things have to say about BM, and I guess it's just been a while, so I'm like, I just need to go for this, and I know the sets of gear, the best in slot. I need to get to my 4-piece as a BM hunter and things like that, and so I knew what I needed to go for, and so I finally got my second legendary. It's actually my 6th or 5th legendary. No, my 6th legendary. Mm-hmm. 5th or 6th, I don't remember. Anyway, so I think it's my 5th, to be honest, because I had 2 on and 2 in the bank, which was one that was my second best in slot when I was my first legendary that I got. Then I got 3 survival. Yeah, it was 3 survival ones, and then I finally got my legendary that's supposed to be my best in slot. Well, I went to go check Icy Veins, and yeah, he just replaced my second best in slot. I'm obviously going to have both of those on. But yeah, there's a new one. I knew that the mantle, the shoulders that came out for BM was going to be something that's hot because it was their new legendary, but the numbers weren't equalizing out. I knew I had to give it more time, and now the shoulders are the number 1 best in slot. So now I continue to have the second best in slot.
Oh, okay.
And I still have, and I have the 3rd or 4th best in slot legendary, so it's good. It's not 2 survivabilities. I have 2 that are applying to my specs, so that I'm not upset too much. Like, I'm not like upset about it, but it was. I remember I was just like, heck yeah, finally got my belt, yeah. And then
Yeah,
looking, I was
that
like,
was
you
pretty
just replaced,
funny.
essentially just replaced my second best in slot. I'm like, screw you, Blizzard.
Poor Snipe. He's all excited. He gets this like legendary that's supposed to be his best in slot, and it's gear scrolling. It's just scrolling like
Yeah.
crazy. So nobody notices, and then he's like, yes, yes. And literally, we thought that he was going to need a box of Kleenex and some alone time. This is how happy he was. And he was so sad no one noticed. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought it was kind of funny, but
Yeah, and even my best friend was like, "Well, congrats then." Like, fuck off. This is big.
we didn't
What?
see it though. And like,
I know.
we took it so offensively. We
Yeah.
were like legendaries right now. It's kind of like when they drop. It's really not very exciting anymore because they drop
Well-
all the time. And when you
yeah.
have 6 of them, like you,
Yeah.
when some people don't have any,
Yeah, well, then they need to play more. Come on.
I guess. Yeah.
But yeah, so I mean, like going like back to the artifact legendaries. I just really saw that they can easily do this by. I mean, yes, we're going to 40. Then what's going to happen over that? Keep in mind, people, we're looking at 7.2. Every patch and every expansion goes well into 7 and 7.8 and all that, or not 7.8, but a 0.8, 0.7. They do like a skip in there for a little bit, but the way they've been presenting them with 7.5, 7.1, 7.1.5, 7.2. We can only assume that either this Legion expansion, is going to last 2 or 3 years, or they're going to do a skip in there. This is normal. This is what they've done before. They've gotten to, if you look at any of the patches and big patches that have come out, there's been, like 3.2, and then they jumped to like 3.6, and things like that. So why they do that, I don't know. But the way they're coming out with expansion, so we're only going to assume that we're getting up to 7.2. And so bring it back to why I'm saying all this is because they want to add to 40. So obviously as we get into more patches, they're going to have to add more artifact knowledge. Then we're going to go into 55 and then 70 and all this stuff they've been doing. Or they could just reversed it back, increase percentage, or kept everything just the way it is. What it's giving you is the same amount. If this quest only gives you 100 artifact power, it depends on what your percentage is to add to that from your artifact knowledge. That actually applies to that. That makes it a bigger number. They don't have to add to it. They can just leave everything the same. And that's what I was saying. Like when I was first looking at it, and I obviously have misread it. And so when I first was looking at it, I thought they were just refunding it. You're going back to if you just got your 35th, and then the next one is going to be just that same cost process, because it all ends up being the same amount. When you look at it, it all becomes the same amount, right?
Right.
Unless they can now gate us by adding more artifact knowledge that we have to go research, right? So now they're gating us behind that. So I get that if they want to gate possibilities of how much you're gaining at one time.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we just have to see how this is going to work out, because it seems like when I first saw that, I was just I'm not going to lie, I was like, oh God, look at how much more artifact power I'm going to have to grind. And I do realize that as you go up in artifact knowledge, your grind becomes less or equal. You know what I mean? But it's scary, I think, for a lot of people who aren't where we are right now.
Yeah, I can see how it could be scary for those. All I know is that I just wish I could be a part of these meetings that they have when they're discussing this stuff. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think there's a person in there that says, hey, you remember vanilla? And as we pushed on and further that we had to go revamp everything, y'all made it simplified. That's why we get into these simple traits of 3. You kind of just make your own class. There's no trees or anything like that. Yes, you pick a specialization. And then I see this artifact thing. I think they're going to want to keep these. I think they just want to add to it colors and changes and all this kind of good stuff that you can go do. And with transmog, you can go make it look like anything that you want out there. Mm-hmm. But then they can keep it on this is your big artifact weapon. So, I see it as them wanting to keep this and then just adding into different looks and colors and so on and so forth through this process, which is fine.
I think that's where the problem
But it
lies
has
right
an
now.
end date. Yeah, I mean, if you
Yeah.
look at it, it has an end date,
Yeah, it
and no
does.
one likes to think of something as an end date. When we go into before this expansion, it nothing had an end date. Like we go for gear, we want to get for this weapon, and we could transmog if we don't know the way it looks. I do like that weapons aren't really a freaking concern anymore. I do love that. I love that we can
True.
build into our
Yeah.
class. I love this concept. But what happens after this artifact land? We just leave it alone and break it and just leave it on a shelf and go find something that we just go find out in the world again.
Well, that's the whole thing. Like, where do you go from here? Like it's almost like you've come to like the cherry on the top of the sundae, and it's like, well, what are you gonna do? Put another cherry on there? I don't know if you
Right.
can.
Yeah. And it could be something simple like, hey, we've left we've talked about going to Argus and stuff like that, which is going to happen. We're going to need our artifact weapons. But, we've also discovered, hey, spoiler alert, if you haven't been paying attention, Azeroth is a Titan god. I mean that's what basically we live on a god. And then maybe we're going to expand out.
I think my mind just exploded. We're living. Wait. Azeroth is not. It's not like a world. It's like a thing. We're living on a thing. We're like zits on a person, and we're just like living there.
We're helping. There's so. Oh my god, I could go into so many different.
Maybe that makes so much sense now. Why Thrall is like, screw this. I gotta become a shaman and save the world.
He's always been a shaman.
Oh, but like, he like kind of sloughed off I'm the leader of the horde and I need to go protect the world.
Well, basically, I mean, if we're going to look at it like that, so basically, finally, our Titan god, Cataclysm, so we had Deathwing, it was basically like his puberty stage. He had his like exploding, it totally changed its face, right? And, moved forward from there. And now he's growing up.
I guess what we're gonna have to do is we're just gonna have to have a couple episodes of lore so everyone can just catch up on this, because it seems like this is gonna blow everyone's mind. It's like the Cash Me Outside chick from Mori or whatever the heck she was on.
It's really interesting for you. So anybody out there, there's old gods and things like that, which is unexpected things that happen in our show. Did not talk about, and I'm not going to get into any of those, but there's so many old gods and things that have separated from us. Sargeras moved on, got put onto a different elemental plane, so on. So all these things is what the WoW. There's so much story. So where they can go from here, and when we're talking about these artifact legendaries, is like these artifact legendaries have an end date. Because how they do things, unless they're going to revamp it all, we obviously don't want the same look, but we are getting new weapons all the time. We're getting new colors and new looks, depending on how active we are and what we're playing into. So we are getting those things. It's just into one item that we've received, and we don't have to look for those anymore. So it's a positive into that, but I didn't want to scroll through how, like, maybe 10 years from now, if I'm still playing WoW, 10 years from now, I don't want to be scrolling through how my artifact weapon, and it's going to be looking at like an achievement page, I'm like, come on, this is dumb, but if that's how they want to do it or where they're moving with it, I have no idea, but it's interesting to see where they're going. Obviously, WoW is under essentially a different direction now. I mean, if you look at it, we have Ian, that's a part of it. Now that Metzen has left, and retired, I guarantee he's going to come back and do voice acting or something. He's not going to just leave his, and I think that's what this whole expansion is farewell to Metzen and his D&D, game master story that he just wanted to close out. And then Ian is the new GM, the new game master that's going to start a whole new story for us later on. For which one is the next expansion.
I look forward to it. I think it's great.
Which why I think BlizzCon is going to introduce our new expansion. BlizzCon this year is going to introduce our new expansion that we're going to have a year to wait for. So, Legion, sit in tight, because after 7.2, 7.2.5 or 7.3 more than likely, if they're going to slow it up a little bit, we're going to Argus. Going to do whatever it needs there, and obviously we're at a new world, and we're going to have to learn certain things there, and provide into a fight and an army, and to move, and just like we've been we've taken enough punches on our own land. Now we're moving. We've rectified our land. Guess we can look at it like that.
Right.
And then going into rectifying, another thing that we wanted to talk about with some of the PTR updates out there is craftable legendaries. So, I mean, these are all hearsay, okay, or not hearsay. They're out there. Lore from Blizzard has announced that, hey, they're, for everyone that's data mining and with these items, this is extremely unfinished. That's why they haven't been able, they haven't enabled, or they're looking at trying to enable them in PTR and moving through this process. And, a lot of things are so unpolished and unfinished. They're just looking at different aspects of these things and how they want to handle them. That was directly from lore. So going into that, and since this is a good feed in from the legendary talk of with artifacts, but then also I have 5 legendaries, right? Mm-hmm. So we have, what they're looking at is craftable legendaries. And obviously we're looking at, the subject is craftable, right? So we're looking at, the cloth, mail, plate, and, what am I missing? Cloth, mail, plate, leather.
Leather, yeah.
And so each one of these is be able to make, a craftable legendary. Now, my question is, what do you think? Are these needed?
I don't know. I think, here's what I think. I think it all depends on what kind of secondary stats they are going to have on them. Because we are kind of, again, locked into this secondary stat prison. And now I'm seeing this going into Nighthold, because I was really under the impression, especially from the Q&A that we watched, that they were going to kind of make it so that when you got a new piece of gear that was a higher item level, that you're going to want to equip it. But we are all still locked into this. Well, we have one primary secondary stat that we have to soft cap. So if we don't soft cap that, then we don't maximize our DPS. So for example, again, it's me with haste. And when I started getting these pieces of gear from Nighthold with all this versatility on them, I started losing my soft cap on my haste, and I started swinging slower, and I started losing DPS. So if those legendaries actually have the ability to be able to give us our primary secondary stat that's going to help us get our soft cap, then yeah, I think so.
Okay. Second, I want to give you a follow-up question to that. Mm-hmm. Do you think this is their fix to bad RNG?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, does it, but it's still okay. But here's another thing too, is as I'm looking through this, it's quest based, right? Like I can see here that there's, so far they just have the tailoring and the blacksmithing ones are what they seem to be here. And you go and do these quests, and then you eventually get the pattern. But like here, it looks like a blacksmithing quest, Armor of the Ancients, obtain 100 ancient demon steel from creatures around the Broken Isles. Well, this stuff, like, how's the drop rate going to be? Like, this could take a really long time. Look how long it takes right now just to get a 3-star in any profession, or just learn patterns on any profession. Or,
well, keep in mind that farming, or how long can it take? I would tell you that unless they put that you can't gain one more than an hour, mm-hmm. or gain more than 5 in an hour, or 2 within an hour, then outside of that, there is no time limit. If you play a little bit, then you're going to get a little bit at a time. If you play a lot, then you're going to get a lot at a time. And I mean, you have the farmers out there, and I only say this is from like a new enchant that I can give to my character. I'm an engineer. Mm-hmm. I can give it came out a new enchanted boon, so it enables me make this really good headpiece that is awesome and it's great. But this headpiece, and it has a really high item level and things like that, that comparable is finally I can actually make something as an engineer for myself. But the one aspect of that is I have to have this enchant, and I get these chests, but I can't get more than one chest in an hour that might have one of these fail steel ice or fail eye things, whatever, or mirror, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it.
I remember we were talking about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Granted, I mean, there are patterns here. Like they have one of each, and the one, I'm a blacksmith, so looking at this, it's called Rethu's Incessant Courage, and you need a Hammer of the Forgotten Heroes, which is one of the quests that they list above, and then something called the Nether Shard Essence, and this Nether Shard Essence this is description. Used to craft legendary items can be purchased from War Mage Kathleen on the Broken Shore or bought and sold on the auction house. So right there, it's like we already know the Broken Shore is going to be like hard. I guess I'm just going to say hard. So getting this item, it might be a while. And then it costs 65 blood of Sargarius, which again is not hard to get if you're going out and doing those world quests, but it also takes 250 demon steel bars. That is a lot. That is 500 of the fell slate and 250 of the laystone. So I'll put it into perspective. It takes 200 demon steel bars to make the corehound mount, and it costs me to make one corehound mount. It cost me almost 12,000 gold just buying the mats that I was missing.
Right.
Which doesn't seem like a lot, but that's just ore.
Okay. So, all right. So we can go into with these craftable legendaries potentially. And yeah, so go looking into that is that if they, when I look at are these needed is kind of an aspect of you have a lot of classes out there, right? And how they're going to change, do stuff. And obviously they might be presenting something more for other, or not classes, but other specs out there. But what they're also requiring, or not specs, I'm sorry, other professions out there. So what they're also requiring is that you potentially need to have at least one of these in your guild. Now, most of the time, it's a pretty given that it's going to be done, that it's already going to be there. But they're also a part of these getting to start this quest chain to be able to get these craftable legendaries and to be able to earn these patterns and things like that. You need, like, the first thing is you need to be maxed out 800 for your spec or for your profession. So you can't just be like, I'm going to switch so I can make this and then I'll switch back to my own, blah, blah, blah. Nope. You're going to have to level it all the way up. So you're also looking at for individuals that are leather workers. I mean, essentially 3 professions: leather workers, clothies, and then blacksmithing. So you have 3 of these that are out there that you'll have plate that will be able to, well, I guess plate and leather it's plate and then leather will be able to make the leather one, cloth will make the cloth one, then the plate one will be able to make plate and mail. Both, they'll get 2 legendary patterns essentially.
Yeah.
And I might be wrong there because some reason I think that if you're, leather workers, they'll get 2 as well. You get to go into, as you're doing leather working, you're able to, like, getting mail and then plate as a progression wise of learning the metals and how they work, of their idea with this profession. I know a lot of us don't pay attention. We're just like, hey, how do I get to the max level as quick as we can? The whole idea is you're dealing with mail at the beginning, and then you start to learn plate, how to mold. And the same thing with leather. And you start to realize that, hey, I can add a little metal to this leather, and then that they're able to, and in the old days, you'd be able to combine the 2, and then you can go down a different road and say, hey, I want to be able to make a lot more mail than I can leather as a leather worker.
Right.
So you'll have the mail that's kind of basically the whole mail part is like the mail is shared by 2. Like you'll have 2 specs out there. If they're 800, you're going to learn an extra one. So you'll have,
It's just,
blacksmiths and leather workers. They'll be able to make this mail piece for us, for those shamans. That's awesome hunters.
It's not easy though, like to get to 800 on these professions now. Like you really have to spend money or time, and it never used to be that way. But I mean, I still think, here's my worry. My concern is that these legendaries, because we all have so many that are already in the game for us, and they've just added more new ones. So my worry, which comes with even like if you look at the forge, the Obliterum forge, whatever, I can't remember exactly how to say it, but it's useless, and it was useless pretty much right away, because by the time you got that quest chain done to get this stupid thing, you couldn't really use it anyway. You know what I mean? Like you had already outgeared it. And I have this weird kind of feeling that if we can make these legendaries, they're either A, going to be useless, or B, they're going to be like they're only going to be good for like if you're leveling, or maybe if you have a character that's not raiding. Or, I mean, for us, maybe it seems that way, or, you know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff, I understand that a lot of the times that things that Blizzard brings in, you look at them from your own perspective. And our perspective is that we do, you and I especially, we do a lot of everything.
Right.
So we do have more, I guess, than most people, or we experience more. So when stuff like this comes out, we're like, really? Like, how is that going to help us? And then I look at it from the point of view as I'm a blacksmith, so now I have to go do this. You know what I mean? And what if I can't really use it? But I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where it goes is for me is,
because they're only listed here at 940. Like they're listed at 940. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll go through my same questions for you. And I have some more questions for that, but I'll go through the first four or first into these is, are they needed? Simple answer to that is yes, they are needed. They are needed so a profession can actually provide into something. Do I feel that it's a fix for bad RNG? Yes. I feel like if you're a new character and you have one of these professions, then if you've applied into it and things like that, it gives you something to work towards. The people that are super casual and they can work towards something. Now they have a profession they can provide into anything. Let's keep in mind that these professions have been pretty much worthless. One of the great things that I love engineering is because it's been the complete selfish. Like it's a selfish profession.
Yeah, and you make all these cool things that you can use and actually have like real viable results,
Right.
And all the other professions don't, unless you're an alchemist or you're an inscriptionist now. Or
well, I mean, you have jewel crafters that buy something here and there. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest ones is alchemists.
Yeah, they make
so. Let's. So that's where it's like to end around these points before I go into these other craftable options. Is I understand that Blizzard is trying to create legendaries and do craftables and stuff like that, and that's why they made it let them know this is very extremely undone, unpolished and unfinished, and so they're trying different things. I think there's a lot of different ways they could have handled it. So first and foremost, I will say that is it there to fix bad RNG? Yeah, like I said, yes, but there's a lot of other professions that it seems unfair to. Because every expansion you've created us the possibility, if we raid or we don't raid, for us to be able to work through a profession. If we have a profession that actually provides us gear, then there's a thing that it comes like when you finally get to make this special thing, it's actually pretty freaking good. And then if you're an alchemist, jewel crafter, you have things that are also providing into the economy that people want to buy that you get pretty early on that you're able to throw on auction house and to make money off of that. Maybe you're not using them as much because maybe you don't raid, but they've all provided. So in this whole process about all these expansions up to Legion has made every profession potentially viable for you yourself. Like, so as an engineer, I'm able to basically provide for myself. I really don't care. I'm not gonna, when I go look at mats for building a mount or one of my pieces for individuals, the amount of time I take just to make my own, I have to do that again, and then I see the pricing on those, I'm like, okay, I spent more time than the pricing on that, so forget that. Whereas other classes, it becomes easier. Well, obviously then there's WAD that was out there. We had our own cavern for you had your own thing for finding herbs, you had your own thing for finding minerals, for mine.
You guys still do have an auction house in Dalaran, which is one of the very I think engineers have it.
That is engineering. Yes, engineering. It's one thing, and I think that I didn't know how to break that. Honestly, I think that was not intended. I think that they're mirroring so much of off the old Dalaran that was just they didn't know how to remove that.
I'm ridiculously jealous because if I need every friggin' Tuesday, I gotta go to Orgrimmar, and I have to, it's just so much easier. So whenever I end up in old world Dalaran,
that's why they said this. He wasn't there before, but that's why they did this. They said, "Hey, we'll just throw honestly," and I've been right about this before. So they gave it to us. So yes, it's a little bit more convenient, but about 30 seconds more convenient.
No, it was always there. It's there in Old World Dalaran, right?
I know, that's where they introduced it.
Right. I remember that. It wasn't there originally.
And then it wasn't, but we also, you would normally have, so Old World Dalaran, So before we get too far off topic, I'm gonna go ahead and throw. So Old World Dalaran, you can go through the portal to Orgrimmar, but you couldn't get back to him. You had, if your hearth was set to Dalaran, then you could, or you had to go through this long thing. I think that they couldn't, because I think they mirrored so much from the Old Dalaran with coding that they couldn't remove that, and I think they wanted to. So instead, they're like, hey, we'll just add a portal to Dalaran in Orgrimmar,
That's true.
call it a day. We'll just call it a day on that.
I always forget there is one though, but that's besides the point. I'm just, hello, blonde. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just like you can go to, especially with Love in the Air, always go to Undercity. And then before you go down into Undercity, once you've done all the quests with Undercity, with the lovely bracelet, and you go over there and you do your chemical blah, blah, blahs, you come back. You just go, before you go down in there, like in the main drag right there, there's a portal right there, takes you to Silvermoon.
There's an actual portal, so you don't have to go click the orb anymore?
Well, you go click the orb instead of having to go back to Dalaran and get to Silvermoon. Yeah. And then your Dalaran Hearthstone is on cooldown. So you're waiting.
Well, and you know what? I remember we were talking about this, and I said it's a good thing that I'm old school because we know all these like old school ins and outs of how to get everywhere, right? Whereas newer players who didn't play that, they don't know, right? Right. It's like you can hop around from one place to the other, or knowing like that if you need to be in the southernmost part of the Eastern Kingdoms, we'll just jump through the Badlands portal, right? But a lot of people don't know this, or take the Karazhan portal. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Or if you're a mage, you have nothing ever to worry about.
Well, everybody else has everything to worry about. Yeah. But you. All
right. So, I mean, go back craftable. So, reason I'm hanging up on this is because I do feel that there is where these were needed. What I don't want to see is, so I'll lead off with these questions, and I'm going to ask you these same questions there, Brookz. So first thing is do we really think that one of these will be a best in slot? For me, it better not fucking be. Like, I am not lying. Yeah. It better not be one of the best in slots, because then you're looking at, not only are you waiting on guildies to up their progression and things like that, which I understand. But what if I'm not a guildie? I'm looking at it on the grand scheme of things. There's the casual players and things like that. Maybe they don't have it, so they need to drop a profession just to get a best in slot legendary. Maybe they don't care about these best in slot legendaries. But I guarantee you, the casual players that are playing right now, these legendaries that they might get at one time, they have the same chance as anybody else. Yeah, they might get the lucky roll, but I mean, they're still rolling the same dice as everyone else. Now, and that's where leading back is this to fix RNG? Yeah, I think it is. I think there's people that just haven't gotten one yet. I know someone that just finally got their first legendary. Do they play as much as some of us do? I don't think so. They sound like they do, but I mean, when I asked their eye level, I was like, well, you're not putting that much work in. I mean, you're putting work in, but you're not putting that much work in. And if you haven't gotten one legendary, especially if they fix, like they did the bad luck mechanic, you obviously aren't playing that much. I don't think they could have, I think they could fix it to fix that, but I don't think they can make one of these legendaries that are craftable. It better not be a best in slot. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think that as it sits right now, on like from the information that we have available to us, it's saying something like this. Like it says likely incomplete, they do not have equip effects. So if it stays with a non-equip effect, it can't possibly be your best in slot, right? Because there's always going to be something that has an equip effect that is going to give you more. But that could change, obviously, because it's always kind of an up and down crapshoot with Blizzard. It starts off as one thing.
Well, remember when Dark Moon Fair, like around the first time that it was come out, like when they introduced it and then everyone started learning about these decks, which are decks that you can you can buy. Mm-hmm. Okay, like that's what Inscription is, and then some of these people, that was Exorcist used a Dark Moon Fair battle deck. Or their deck was a Promise. The one that got Mythic first used that because the mana regen on Gul'dan was needed. He used it. They thought it was a bug or something like that, because when he posted a picture and yada yada yada, that was added more drama. They were like, oh, he didn't. Wow, Blizzard looked at the logs, it was there. He showed his equipment on it, blah blah blah. So outside of that point was that he was using that, and so it made it to be. I mean, everyone that was in that time, and I mean, even times, but after that, I mean, it became like it was a best in slot trinket for like almost everybody one of those decks if you could get it, if you can get someone to build it for you, or you go buy it for a crazy amount of gold. Obviously, I mean, imagine now we'd be looking at that, like the gold that you were able to make then for one of those Dark Moonfarer decks.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So like what it was then. So yeah, I know everyone knows now. So anyone that wasn't playing then, that now it'd be like a trinket going for, so how easy it is to make gold, right? Everyone knows that it's easier, even if you want to buy it a little bit, that it's legal finally in WoW and stuff like that. So if you want to buy, well, whatever, you're figuring out how much you want to spend and all that kind of good stuff. If you're doing all your world quests and things like that, you're probably sitting around, probably comfortably around 150 to 250 gold. I'm giving 100,000 gold, difference in there. If you're being regular with doing your dailies and all these kind of good things, you're just being an active player that plays maybe a couple hours a day, if that, or maybe an hour a day. So you got a good gold stash. All right, so imagine this trinket that if it was introduced now, it'd probably be about, I would say comfortably with the difference from that, anywhere from 500 to 700,000 gold. Which one of these trinkets? Like that's how they were back then. Like back then, it wasn't that easy to make that gold. It was basically after you did some dailies, you got a little bit of gold, then you were just like,
it's still not easy.
Messing with auction house, or and it's obviously like you're just flipping a card. Hopefully you'll get a good card. I mean, the process, and it still takes inscriptionists to make it.
I think that for one of these to be the best in slot would be absolutely ludicrous, to be honest. And I don't think Blizzard would ever do that. However, when it comes to best in slot anything,
comes to numbers.
Yeah, this is all based on, again, this magical place where the 1% of WoW players are. Do you know what I mean? Like, this does not necessarily apply to every single person and every single spec and every single class in the game, because everyone plays slightly different. And this is why they were so hard. At the very beginning, at the very beginning Legion, you could not find a best in slot list. People did not know what to do because they were saying like an 840 trinket out of Karazhan, or was 840 or 850 out of Karazhan was the best in slot for a lot of classes. And it's silly. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not how we're ever used to doing things. It used to be your best in slot was normally tier pieces, and it was normally gear that you got out of heroic or mythic level grades. So, and it used to be you had to be a raider to get the best in slot. That was just part of life. And most of the time you couldn't buy it. And this is where the viable ones or the craftable ones come in, because people are smart enough to realize, hey, this is where I'm failing at this fight, like during raid, and they're like, but I know that this and this will do this for me, so I'm going to throw this in here and see if it helps. So it might have dropped his item level, but he was regenerating mana so that he could heal through that. And now all of a sudden this is your best in slot trinket, but it's not. It just was for that particular person in that particular raid group with those particular classes. That's what it ended up being.
Yeah, that was Exorcist. I mean, obviously he used something because they were failing on certain thing. For he's maybe running out of mana, so he utilized that, and that was
they had damn smart. Equipped. Like, hello. Right.
Yeah, I mean that's just how it is out there. You try different things. Now, going with this point to close this whole thing down is, I think that I know I've mentioned before, not on our podcast or anything like that, but with this is that I think they could have done this another way. I think that. And I'm hoping that maybe they'll try to start. Maybe it's something that's already on their mind, but they don't need to test it because it's a simple person. Like they didn't need to test the person that you can now start to. We obviously is like, why can't I do anything with this blood? And then they came out with
the trader.
You can spin blood for get this, and you just gotta spin blah blah blah. Same thing I think they should do with legendaries. Like if you want one of these legendaries and you're getting bad RNG. Which I understand is going to take it away from the chance. But the way it feels now is just a chance. But now I don't have to, I know that maybe I can now potentially achieve it or not achieve it. Not something I can go buy with some bloods. But hey.
Well, it's something that you have the potential
I can go trade in 3 to 4 legendary pieces that I've received. Maybe they're all...
pick the one you want. I love this.
Pick the one I want. So it's still providing you're still looking for legendaries. You're still going out. You're still wanting legendaries. If you get the off chance that you get what you wanted, great.
It's like...
If you didn't, then you can go sell. Now you've spent all this time and you've had all these legendaries. Now you can go sell them to this dumb retard over here and say, give me the freaking one I
want. It's like the got junk people. They come and pick up all your junk and pay you. Like,
yes.
And there, like, I think that there's a lot of people right now who are sitting around with, like, I mean, I'm sitting with 2 legendaries I'm not using because you can only equip 2, obviously. But, you know, if I could take 3 of my legendaries and go trade them in for, like, the one I want that would do me better, I would take that chance. I would give up 3 pieces for one.
You know, one other even smaller aspect of that, I would take the 3 pieces that now I have in my bank to say, hey, I want a better percentage roll.
Yeah.
Let's do this Vegas style. I'm gonna bet these 3 that I get this one. I want to up the percentage that I will get that piece right there.
Yeah.
And you know what? I might more than likely what will happen. It's like
I think we need to go to Vegas. I'm feeling lucky.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just like the order thing. We all want to say order hall when you get your followers out there. We want to say 200%. But if we feel like it's sitting at 95%, we'll win. Have you won every 95% roll? I know I haven't.
No.
Yeah, exactly. But we could assume that, hey, we should win. You might get a loss on it, but hey, it's better than sitting in your bank.
It's like
survival crap
loot
that you won't use, and then you can apply it. I don't want to roll. I don't want a coin. I just want a better chance that I will get and I will feed into it, and then. But to me, that makes it hard because every person has their own like bad luck percentage and yada yada. The numbers alone on that for the amount of players that could be is ridiculous. The easier way to do it is say, hey, you want to sell your legendary piece for a token. You get a token that gives
a legendary token. Shot.
And let's just say that a token costs 5 or 6 to buy a legendary. You know, I mean, what's the difference? I mean, I'm still hoping for more legendaries. You know, I'm still, got to fight for it. But hey, these crap ones are actually providing something for me now.
Well, maybe what we could do is like do the transformer thing. You know, you have like 4 pieces of legendary gear and you can transform it into a new ultimate legendary piece
of my choosing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I don't want it to get greater than what it was.
Like the ultimate legendary piece of your choosing.
Yeah. I mean, the one that's like your best in slot or, whatever it could be, because whatever percentage it is, it doesn't matter. It just, I'd rather roll a dice. And if I get a legendary off a random thing and here or there, at least I know that I'm providing into something. And to me, it seems like a simple fix where it still feels legendary. You're still hoping for a legendary. Even if it's crap, you're like, hey, one legendary away from buying my best in slot legendary. And I might get lucky and get my best in slot legendary. And then this other legendary that's sitting here, like I now got these 5 tokens. I need one more token if it was set to 6. So, I have this one more token I need to receive from selling this legendary and you providing me something, then, numbers change at all times. So, or, in the next, 7.2.5 or whatever, 7.3 or, all these things that are happening then I can utilize it then at that point. So you might get lucky, but it's a chance to make legendaries feel legendary. Everyone's going to be happy again about getting a legendary, not be like, well, it's a new survivability one. Look how crappy this thing is. Like, get the fuck out of here. Now you're happy about it. Like, hey, just need one more shitty legendary or my legendary to get.
First world problems, bro. First world problems. It should be first world WoW problems.
Right.
Man.
But yeah, I mean, that is our show. We're a little bit over time today, but we, big things going in with artifact legendaries and craftable legendaries, a different aspect on how we're seeing it, despite how other people might be seeing how these legendary. I've seen a lot of arguments with these with craftable legendaries. I don't think they're seeing it from a different aspect on how this can work instead of being against it. But that's like I said, that's where we are going with this take. Next week, I definitely we're going to be talking a little. I mean, we're still going to be talking about 7.2, and how we want to handle that, as well as into the Broken Shore and some things about our take on how we expect that to be. reminiscing a little bit onto that as we push forward to that, and along with some other things with 7.2, or not with 7.2, but along with some other things that are going to be happening through that process of next week's show. So stay tuned. You can obviously always whisper if with any questions or anything, like maybe if you're a PTR or goer or anything with the game currently as it sits, you can make sure you reach out to the WoW Reckoning Hour at gmail.com or the on Twitter or Facebook at WoW Reckoning Hour, HR not spelled out. That's where to reach us. Brookz, where can we see you?
You can totally stalk me on the Twitterverse at Brookz. It's BROOKZ because I'm Canadian. That's a Z, and it's VERSE. So at
Z's a Z.
No, dude, it's a Z. There's no other way around it. Z is like.
Well, I was saying Z is you said Z's a Z. I said Z's a Z for us.
It's at Z, yeah, but it's Brookz. So like as like the Twitterverse, but it's Brookz because it's my world, bro.
Yeah. I mean, definitely check us out. But that is our show. Obviously, like I said, hit us up for some questions, things like that. We want to move into that. But I hope y'all have a great rest of your day and week. And we'll talk to y'all next week. And don't forget, keep calm and fly on.